In this tutorial video, we're going to go over the price action controls of the complete volume pump strategy. So your price action controls are located underneath your volume controls, and you can use these independently of any controls in here. You can use them combined with any other settings you want. But this video is going to focus solely on price action controls and how they work. So the first option you have is you can use the top X% of a bar or the bottom X% of a bar. And what that will do, let's say for example, I want to only find bars that close in the top 10% of the bar close. So I can look for that condition. I could use top 10%. And now all these green backgrounds are potential entries. So let's see where we actually entered the trade. You know, let me actually get a little more specific. Let's just look for bars that have closed in the top 10% of our close. Okay, there we go. We have real bullish bars. You can see there this bar closed in the top 10%. We entered right after. So you could look for conditions like that. You also, of course, have the inverse, or if you want to look for maybe really bearish bars that close in the bottom 10%, you can look for that too. There you go. You can see bars. Those are really good for momentum. And you can find bars like that on that close. Okay, so that's the first portion of the price action. It's looking for bar close in the top X% of the bar or bottom. You can't use it together, obviously. They would cancel each other out. But you use one or the other. And this can be done to the 100th%. There we go. Okay. We also have use high goes higher than the last amount of whatever bars you set. Pretty self-explanatory. If I'm looking for a bar like this that went higher than this bar by a certain amount of percent, I can look for that. So let's just show you that visually on the screen. Here we are on the price action controls. Use high. Let's look for a bar that goes 1% higher than the last bar. Okay, that gapped up on Amazon. Let's find some other ones. Okay, here's a nice example. This bar went definitely 1% above this bar, and then we entered on. That's how that works. Now let's use logos lower. It's just literally the opposite of that. So if you want to look for bars that go any amount of percent lower than whatever amount of bars you're looking for, let's look for a bar that goes 1% lower than the last 10 bars. See if that bar exists out here. Maybe a tough condition to find. Let's bring it down a little bit. Oops, excuse me, I'm going too far. Price action controls, there we are. Oh, let me click it. There we go. Got to click it to make it work. Okay, there we go. So here's an example. Obviously, we might not be taking longs on bars like this. You can, good for shorts also, but we have this bar that closed 1% lower than definitely at least the last 10 bars, so that qualified as an entry. Same with this bar here. This bar closed at least a percent lower than the last 10 bars. So that's how that works for price action. We also have a bar higher high, lower low combination operator. And that's just a really fancy way of saying that we want to look for bars that are engulfing. So bars that go higher and lower than the previous bar. So let's look for an example of that. Let's look for a bar that goes, let's say, 0.5% higher than the previous bar, and also 0.5% lower than the previous bar. We're going to select this to and, not or. We're looking for these to happen together. You could look for one or the other, or you can do and. So if you're looking for an engulfing bar, we're going to do and. And here we go. This bar went 0.5% higher at least, and at least 0.5% lower than the previous bar, and that triggered an entry for us. Let's see if we can find some other example. That was another example there. So you can look for very specific conditions with price action. You also have use close goes X% higher than whatever amount of bars, or the bar close goes X% lower than whatever amount of bars. Pretty self-explanatory on those. You can look for rising or falling price on bars. So let's say you want to find bars that, let's say you want to look for price rising 1% over maybe a period of 3 bars, each bar. We can look for that. Okay, that condition might not have happened here. So let's, oh, keep forgetting to select it. There we go. Okay, so that condition did happen. Let's see where we have an example of that. There we go. So yeah, we had that here. We had this bar higher, here, 1%, 1%, 1%. Excuse me, 1%, 1%, 1%. That went higher than the previous bar, so that triggered an entry right there. And you can also do the inverse if you're looking for falling price over a certain amount of bars. You can look for that also. So let's look for a bar that maybe goes 5% or 0.5% lower than the last 3 bars. Let's see where that happens. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3. There we go. 1% lower every time. And we entered there. So that's how it works. You can also combine any of these with each other. So if you want to look for very specific conditions, if you want to look for, let's say you want to look for an engulfing bar that also closes in the top 10% of the bar. You could combine those together. So you're going to look for top 10% of bar. You're going to look for bar goes lower and bar goes higher by 0.5%. And there's a great example right there, right on the screen. Went lower, higher, and closed in the top 10%. Well, there's literally unlimited combinations. If you use these with each other to look for specific conditions, you can find any type of price action. And of course, you can combine this with the volume controls, liquidity breakout controls, or any other filter here, or just use it by itself. So extremely powerful by itself or combined with any other of the settings in here. So that'll do it for the price action controls. And we have other videos on the other volume controls, breakout controls, and main entry filters and everything else. So thank you for watching this video and happy trading. Thank you.